Hello, this is Jay Leon, and welcome back to Beginning Sailboat Racing. And today we're going to talk about the rules rounding the marks. So we've already talked about starboard over port and leeward over windward. Now we're going to talk about the special rules associated with rounding the marks. And we're going to focus mostly on the leeward mark, which is the mark at the bottom of the race course. So you have a mark here. The wind is going like this, and the boats are sailing down to go around this mark. And we almost always go around marks with the mark to port. So we're going to go around this way, and if there are a number of boats converging on the leeward mark, there are some rules that govern how these boats get around the marks in an orderly fashion. So we're going to just imagine that we're coming down like this, and there's a boat here, and let's just say for fun of it that the sail is on the starboard side, making that boat on port tack. And let's just say that there is another boat here also, sail out like that, on starboard. I mean, the sails on the starboard side, boats on port tack. Boats are both on the same tack. And if they were to head up a little bit, go this way a little bit, this boat might be the leeward boat. So the rules would say that a leeward boat has the right of way and that this boat would have to avoid him. But the rule is that when they reach a circle 3 boat lengths from the mark, so it's an imaginary circle around the mark, 3 boat lengths. We can just imagine little boats here. 3 of them make a 3 boat length circle. When you get to the 3 boat length circle, if these boats are overlapped, so if this boat's bow is past the stern of that boat, then this boat has to give this boat room to go around the mark. So when you get to this imaginary circle, if you're in this boat, you say to that boat, hey, I need room to go around the mark. And there's a special rule that requires this boat, even though that boat might have the right of way and through other rules, that this boat has to give this boat sufficient room to go around the mark. Now, this boat has to go down here and go around the mark in what's called a seaman-like fashion, or more or less do a good rounding close to the mark, and then this guy has to sail with out of the way enough. Now, so this person can't just keep on sailing, and this would have to avoid them. So when you get to the leeward mark, the main rule is this 3 boat length circle and an overlap established, and the inside boat can say, I need room at the mark. And this other boat, regardless of whether or not he or she has right of way another way, has to give way and allow them to make that turn. Now, similarly, so this is the leeward mark. That's the one at the bottom of the course when you're going downwind and turning to go upwind. Now, at the weather mark, the mark at the top, there's also a 3 boat length circle. It doesn't come into play quite as much. And usually the boats all approach on starboard tack like this. And that's because the starboard tack boat has the right of way. If you come in on port at the weather mark, these boats are all on starboard. They have the right of way. This boat's on port. It has to give way. You are asking for trouble because it's very difficult to get in and around the mark when there's a lineup of boats on starboard. And so as a beginner, I would encourage you not to come in right at the mark on port. There are ways to do it, but we're not going to get into it here. But the most prudent thing to do in order to get around the course with few incidents is to come in on port down here, tack onto starboard, get your place in line, and go around the mark. There are some reasons to not want to do that, but when you're just starting out, it really is the smartest thing to get lined up at the weather mark on starboard early. So those are some special rules for rounding the marks.